만족할 수가 있었어 널 위해서라면 난 아파도 다 만족할 수가 있었어 사랑이 사랑을 너 완벽하게 내 모든 요점이 다 숨겼지
A man named Kim Taehyung was standing in front of the priest at a wedding venue. He was wearing a black tuxedo. In front of him, there were a lot of people, mostly his relatives. Some of his important business partners were also there. His best friend Park Jimin was attending the guest along with his parents. Because after Taehyung's grandfather's demise, Taehyung only had Jimin and his parents were the only whom he could call a family. Sure, there were his stepmother, stepbrother, even his father was also alive, but alas, they all would rather wish Taehyung's demise instead of wishing a little good for him. After all, Taehyung's mother was Taehyung's father's first wife, whom he clearly married only for business purpose. Mr. Kim's sole care love was always reserved for his second wife, who was back then his mistress. Taehyung still remembered the last night he had spent with his mother. On her bed, she was waiting for her husband to at least say a last goodbye to her, but he didn't come. He was, as usual, busy with his mistress. Taehyung looked at his namesake family who were also at the wedding venue. But strangely, they were not looking pissed off. Taehyung furrowed his brows at their behavior. Taehyung's stepbrother, stepmother, especially his father, should be pissed off, as according to Taehyung's grandfather's will, after this wedding, Taehyung would be the one to become the sole owner of grandfather's properties. All the power, the company for which Taehyung worked his daylight off, would be rightfully on his name. The remaining ones, like his stepbrother, father or stepmother, will only be receiving monthly allowance, which also would be fully controlled by Taehyung. Taehyung tried to shrug off his shoulders from the worry which was circling his mind. But again, he glanced at his wristwatch and saw it was almost his wedding time. Where is she? He wondered about his to-be bride who still didn't arrive. In any normal wedding, the bride-to-be is always found in the dressing room getting ready for the wedding with her family and bridesmaids. But during Taehyung's wedding, his bride-to-be haven't been arrived at the wedding destination. After all, it was not normal wedding. It was a contract marriage. A contract marriage which was only known to Taehyung and Jimin. The bride-to-be was a struggling actress named Leah, whom Taehyung hired to act as his wife for the next 6 months. She was supposed to come here early today, but at the last minute, when every arrangements were done, when Taehyung had invited everyone for the wedding, she messaged Taehyung that she would come a little late due to her having cold. Does her cold got worse? His thoughts were disrupted when he felt a gentle tap on his shoulder. He turned around and found his best friend Jimin. Need to talk urgently. He whispered to Taehyung's ears. Taehyung nodded and they both went from there with the excuse of going washroom. Leah double-crossed us, Taehyung. Jimin told Taehyung in frustration while rubbing his forehead. Taehyung left out series of curses after hearing him. I asked my men to go to her home to pick her up, but she's not there. I'm sure she ran away after taking the half payment. That's why my so-called family wasn't freaking out today. They all knew this would happen. They planned this. They gave more money to Leah. Dang it. We shouldn't have let Leah live in her house after deciding she would be your contract wife. Now, what should we do? The guest, your grandfather's lawyer who has the will, everyone is waiting outside. Your reputation is on stake, Taehyung. Why did your grandpa had to make this stupid will, Tae? You say he loved you more than his own son. Then how come he wrote that his whole property would go to his good-for-nothing son and his second wife's son if you don't marry before you turn 30? When clearly it's you who worked day and night for this company to establish again. Because he knew after she left, I won't be able to trust anyone, let alone get married. Grandpa just didn't want me to live a lonely life ahead, Jimin. Jimin looked away from Taehyung as he understood Taehyung's grandfather's fear. After all, he also feared his best friend would live lonely life ahead, which definitely wasn't something Taehyung ever wanted. Hell, Jimin remembered how Taehyung used to tell him of his wish to have a big family in future. But then his desires were mercilessly crumbled. More precisely, she crumbled his best friend's dreams. Both men in their late 20s were very tensed. Both were thinking what to do now when Taehyung's eyes went outside the place they were standing. He saw his secretary named Lee Wyan was talking with the wedding planner, maybe about the food service. He looked at the 27-year-old woman and unknowingly fisted his palm. His anger seemed to get fuel after seeing her. Startling Jimin, Taehyung then marched towards the outside women. Hey, where are you going? You should check the wedding venue again. He ordered the wedding planner in his cold voice, which sent shivers to his spine. He quickly obeyed the young CEO and left. Not understanding Taehyung's sudden behavior, Wyan was about to ask him why he was standing here instead of standing in front of the priest, waiting for his bride. But he, without any warning, harshly grabbed her wrist and dragged her towards the corner. Him and Jimin were talking a while ago. What are you doing, Taehyung? Jimin will give you a wedding dress. Be ready in 15 minutes. You are going to marry me today. Both Jimin and Wyan's eyes widened hearing him. What? She was too shocked to react further, but Jimin spoke being angry. What are you saying, Taehyung? Are you out of your mind? You do know, right? Who is she? She is the same woman. Same woman who broke up with me years ago? Yeah, I remember. But right now, do you think we have option? At least wedding with her would be less suffocating than the humiliation of left out groom. Plus, the lawyer would be suspicious from now on. Wyan's already widened eyes got more widened hearing Taehyung's bride running away. But Jimin's anger seemed to be suppressed as he understood Taehyung's words now. Still, Jimin, she's a wild woman. He said while eyeing Wyan. It was clear in his eyes that he now didn't like Wyan even for a bit. I am not that fool I used to be, Jimin. Now I know how to save myself from her. It won't affect me if I do this wedding. But it would affect me, Taehyung. She looked at his eyes and said, I'm sorry that your bride ran away, but I cannot be your replaced bride. For God's sake, Taehyung, this is not how a marriage takes place. I have tried doing it in the right way, but obviously it didn't turn out good. So let's do this in the wrong way now. Anyways, Lee Wyan, do you want to lose your job? You back off from marrying me now and your job would be snatched from you. You won't do this. You can't. Watch me then, Wyan, I tell you. But before that, do think about your financial condition. Do think how you came begging to my company for job. Taehyung harshly told her this, whereas she inhaled sharply. She turned her gaze from him as she